There are 5 essential systems that every single business needs. Collectively, they are your business operating system, and they're the engine that runs a profitable business. Each of the 5 systems is responsible for keeping an important part of that engine running. And if one of those 5 isn't working, that's probably where your business is getting stuck. Today, I'm going to help you figure out which one it is and what you need to put in place to fix it. So, in this week's episode of Weekly Momentum, I'm going to help you give your business engine a tune up and build out your business operating system to increase the profitability and the stability of your business in the next 90 days. Hi, I'm the Get It Done Diva. I'm founder and CEO of the Women's Business Momentum Center, and we help women business owners build better operating systems for their business to increase their profitability in 90 days. Now, you can join one of our 90-day cohorts at getitdonediva.com and make sure you subscribe because we drop new content every week to keep you in momentum. So the 5 systems every business needs to run better, because you can have a great business. You can have clients, you can have revenue coming in, and you can even be building your team. And yet here you are, still feeling like you're holding the entire thing together with hope and some duct tape. Every question comes to you. Every decision comes to you. When something breaks, you're the one that needs to fix it. When sales slow down, you jump into marketing. When cash gets a little tight, you start looking at the numbers. And when you're busy delivering to all of those clients, everything else gets pushed aside. And that's what happens when you have a business, but you haven't built the systems that actually run the business. And that's what I want to talk about today. If running your business feels way harder than it should right now, I want you to listen to this whole episode and commit to 3 changes that you're going to make in the next 7 days to tune up your business. Maybe you need more clients. Maybe you're getting leads, but not enough of them are turning into clients. Maybe you've got plenty of clients, but you're overwhelmed trying to deliver everything that you promised. And maybe you're making money, but you're looking at your bank account wondering, where the heck did it all go? Or maybe you're just so busy doing the work that the things that you know would make the business better just keep getting pushed until next week. Those might sound like 5 completely different problems, but they're not. There are 5 parts of your business that each need a system. And here's where I think a lot of small business owners really get it wrong. They hear the word systems and immediately think, oh, I'm too small for that. I'll worry about that when I have a bigger team or I hire my first employee. I don't have time to set all of that up right now. But if you're waiting until your business is bigger to create systems, you've got it backwards. These are the things that help you get bigger without just creating more work for yourself. And they don't have to be complicated. In fact, in my 90-day cohorts, I teach a simple 5-step process to build any system or process. And you can find out more about joining my next 90-day cohort in the description below. So there are 5 systems I believe every business needs, and they are marketing, sales, operations, finances, and the last one is the one that runs it all, momentum. Now, each one solves a different problem. Each one has a very specific job designed to increase an important metric in that area of your business. And inside each one are repeatable processes that make sure that job actually gets done. So let me show you a little bit more about what I mean by that. Let's start with system number 1, marketing. So if you don't have enough new potential clients coming into your business, that's the problem that marketing solves. The job of your marketing system is really simple. It's to generate new leads. Now, I want to get really clear about what I mean by a lead. A lead is a person who has shown some level of interest. They put their hand up to potentially buy what you sell. It's not someone who follows you on Instagram. That's not necessarily a lead. It's not someone who likes your post. That's not necessarily a lead. Those people may be part of your audience, but they're not leads. A lead has 2 qualities. They've raised their hand and you have their contact information. Maybe they filled out a contact form, downloaded something from your website. Maybe they registered for one of your trainings or asked for more information, booked a call, or replied to an email asking about your services. They might have been referred to you, or they might have handed you a business card at a networking event. Now, you'll see there's two qualities here. They've expressed an interest and they've given you a way to reach them either by email or phone number. That is a lead. Followers and DMs don't count because you don't own that system. You could lose that way to communicate at any time. Emails and phone numbers, maybe addresses. And so here's the question. Does your business have a reliable way to generate new leads? Or do new clients just maybe mostly appear through luck, word of mouth, or whenever you realize you need to start marketing again when you crank up that engine? Inside your marketing system are the processes that generate those leads. It doesn't have to be complicated. Remember, I talked earlier about a simple 5-step method to do this, not a full overhaul, but it does need to consistently do its job. It needs to have trackable metrics so you know you're on the right track or you're off track with that particular system. The purpose of your marketing system is to generate new leads, not to binge and burn out on marketing every time your bank account gets low and then forget all about it. A system is something that is running continually, creating a steady flow of potential new clients. Now, before we go into the next system, I want to clear something up that gets really confused for a lot of small business owners. You have a marketing system, but you also have a sales system. And a lot of people aren't clear on what the difference is between the two. I'm going to go over the sales system next. But before I do, think of it this way. Marketing is when people are raising their hand and saying they're interested. And sales is taking them from once you have their information and then converting them into a customer. So it is two different parts of the cycle that require different systems and different processes. It's not about bundling it all together. And that gets a lot of business owners into trouble when they're thinking that marketing and sales are basically all just the same thing, because they're not. Marketing's done its job. You have a lead. Now what? That's where sales comes in. That's where your sales system takes over. And it's kicked into gear and triggered because you have people interested, you've got a way to contact them, but they're not consistently becoming paying clients. Your conversion rate is low or non-existent. So the job of sales is to turn those leads into customers and clients. And this is a big place where I see money just slipping through the cracks. Someone contacts you and you have this great conversation. You send them the information they requested, and then they say, well, let me think about it. And then nothing. You get busy, you move on to the next thing. They get busy. Nobody follows up. How many inquiries are you getting? And how many of them are turning into actual clients and customers? And your sales conversations, is everyone completely different, or do you have a system? And a lot of times the problem is you hate selling. So you avoid following up because you don't want to be pushy. These are all sales problems. And your sales system, it just needs simple processes for the following things. What happens when somebody inquires? Who responds? How quickly do they respond? What questions do you ask? And how do you explain your offer in a compelling way, addressing a clear problem that your business can solve for them? And what happens after the conversation? When do you follow up? How often? How does somebody pay you? You want to have a sales system that turns leads into clients. So the metric that you want to be looking at for this system is how many sales do you want to start with, monthly or quarterly or annually? You need targets. And then what is your conversion rate from the lead to the customer? And then start to notice something really important. If you're saying, I need more clients, the problem isn't automatically marketing, which we talked about a minute ago. You might have plenty of leads. Your sales system may very well be the problem. And that's why it's so important that you understand all 5 of these systems and what they do. Now, before I get into the third system, if you're nodding your head and thinking, this is exactly what's missing in my business, Marianne, but how do I build all of this? I don't have time. Then you might want to check out my 90-day cohorts. They include a masterclass in building your business operating system. I'm going to walk you through setting up each one of them with clear metrics, essential processes that everyone needs. And I hold your hand through the first 90-day cycle with weekly coaching and even digital dashboard to make sure you're on track. Just click the link in the description to join the next 90-day cohort when the doors open. There's also a wait list to alert you when you can register. Now, let's recap where we are. Marketing generated the lead. Sales turned them into a client. Now we're into the third system where we actually do what we promised, operations. And the problem that the operations system solves is that it creates more efficiency in the way that you deliver your product or service. Now, when you start out in business, for most business owners, it's easy to customize everything we do. And then 2, 3, 5, 10 years later, we've built a business that's completely dependent on us and extremely inefficient. The more efficient the operations, more profitable your business is. And profitability isn't just about revenue, it's about actual profit and time, which is the most overlooked lever for small business owners. For so many small businesses, delivering your product or service takes too much time, creates too much chaos, or depends too heavily on you. The job of operations system is to deliver what you sold and to deliver it efficiently and consistently. This is everything that happens when someone becomes a client. So how do you onboard them? How do they schedule? What kind of information do they receive? How do you set them up for success and manage expectations? How's the work completed? How do you communicate with them? What does each member of your team do, or you if you're wearing all those hats? And what do you do as the CEO? What happens when the work's finished? And if every new client creates 100 little things for you to remember, that's an operations problem. If clients consistently ask the same questions, that's an operations indication problem. If your team consistently asks you what to do next, then there's a problem with operations. You see the pattern here. And if you can't take on more clients because you personally or your team don't have any more hours, that once again is an operations problem. Now, inside your operations system, there are processes for solving all of those problems I just mentioned. So the job of the operations system is to deliver what you sold simply and consistently in the most efficient way. Our metric to track here is how long it takes to deliver your product or service and the capacity of your business compared to the current level you are operating at. These numbers will give you the potential capacity of your business, which is a very important metric to be tracking. And that's also one of the key metrics that we track in the CEO digital dashboard, so that you can make sure that you are increasing the capacity of your business and therefore growing it in a very efficient way. And also, of course, you want happy clients, but happy clients without everything depending on you making them happy. Now we've got the fourth system. That's the finances. So let's talk about money. Maybe you can be great at marketing, you are great at sales, you're great at delivering, and you're still sitting there wondering, why am I working this hard and not making money? That's the problem your financial system solves. So money's coming into your business, but maybe you don't have enough clarity or control over where it's going and what you're actually keeping. The job of your financial system is to make sure your business makes money, not just revenue, profit. And there is a big difference. In fact, in the Business Operating System Masterclass, we dedicate several sessions to setting up your money map and the percentages that you need to track and popping them into your digital dashboard so that you can really keep your eye on that profit number and make sure that it's increasing. There's a big difference between a profitable business and a business that's bringing in revenue. You can have a $500,000 business and spend $490,000 running it. Revenue might look impressive, but all you've done is created yourself a $10,000 a year job. Your financial system includes simple processes for things like getting invoices out, collecting money, paying bills, paying yourself, your pricing that you're using for your products and services and making sure it's a viable business, setting money aside for taxes, tracking expenses, looking at your numbers regularly, knowing your profit, and knowing whether your pricing is working. The purpose of the financial system is to make sure the money coming in is being managed properly and making a profit. The metrics that you're tracking are the profit, the operating expenses, paying yourself, and tax, all as percentages, not as fixed amounts. That way we can really compare and track and make sure that you are moving in the right direction to profitability with your business. A more profitable, financial, healthy business is what we're going after here. So we have one more system to complete your business operating system. But before we get into that, make sure that you hit that subscribe button. I drop new content every single week to help you and your business stay in momentum and increase your profitability in 90-day cycles. So the fifth and final system that you absolutely need is what I like to call momentum. And it's because you could know everything that I just told you, and maybe you already do, but you're still not doing anything about it. Why? Because you're busy like most business owners. Your clients need you, emails need answering, your team has got questions for you, or something always needs fixing. And you're going along with your day, and then suddenly another week has just disappeared. So the problem that this system solves is when you're so busy running the business that you don't consistently make time to improve. You're not working on the business, you're just working in it. That's what the momentum system solves. Its job is to create focused CEO time and the processes to keep the business moving forward. This is the system that drives your daily momentum, your weekly momentum, 90-day momentum, and stops you reinventing the wheel. Focus your whole team on solving one problem at a time to generate the most momentum in your business. Like, where are we going? What's working? What's not working? What needs my attention? What are the numbers actually telling me? What needs to be finished? What am I doing today, next week, next 90 days to make this business more profitable? So the purpose of the momentum system is to make sure you're consistently working on the business. You're probably an accidental CEO if you're like most of my clients. And what I mean by that is that you started out doing something really well. You generated clients, you started making money, and then it grew and you started to need to find ways to serve more clients. And so it was kind of like Frankenstein's monster a little bit, that you kept kind of tacking on pieces or adding team members as you needed them. But you never actually set up an operating system for your business. You never actually decided that you were going to be the CEO. And so now here you are wondering, how do I run all of these pieces of my business that I've created and put them together so that it creates a well-oiled machine? When you have the momentum system in place, the business actually gets better instead of simply just getting busier. And this is why momentum is so important. It drives everything else in your business. The momentum system is where you notice we're not generating enough leads, or our follow-up isn't working, or client onboarding is a mess. Maybe you notice your expenses are too high, or you're spending way too much time doing something that someone else could do. And then you can focus your attention on building, fixing, or improving that system to hit the metrics that matter. So now let's zero in on one of the processes in your momentum system, which is weekly momentum process. Now, if you've listened to this podcast before, you're familiar with weekly momentum. It is a 4-step process that you run every week. And it's such a great example of what a process is. It sits within, of course, the momentum system. And there are 4 parts to this process. Number 1 is to rewind. Number 2 is to realign. Number 3 is to plan. And number 4 is to plug in. So let's put all of that together and really look at what is your business operating system, the 5 simple systems. You have marketing, generating leads; sales, turning leads into clients; operations is delivering what you sold; financial is making sure that the business is making money; and momentum is how you keep growing and improving the business. That's it. And inside each of those systems are simple processes that make those things happen. Now, inside my business operating system masterclass, I give you a list of 25 essential processes that every business needs. That way you can make sure that you're completing each of those processes and building a solid foundation for your business operating system. Now, when something isn't working in your business, you've got somewhere to look now. If it's not enough potential clients, then marketing system, right? If you've got plenty of interest but not enough people buying, then it's sales. If you're too busy, overwhelmed, or feel like everything depends on you, then definitely an operations challenge. And if you're making money but not keeping enough of it, then financial. And finally, when you know what needs to change, but you never seem to get around to changing it and you just feel guilty, then it's your momentum system that needs attention. Now you're not just saying, my business is a mess. You can actually clearly identify where the challenge is. And once we know what the problem is, we can start building the processes to fix it, right? So here's this week's weekly momentum challenge for you. I want you to do something really simple this week. I want you to give yourself a score from 1 to 10 for each one of the systems that we went over. So for marketing, ask yourself, am I consistently generating leads, and score yourself from 1 to 10. Sales, am I consistently turning those leads into clients? How's my conversion rate? For operations, can I consistently deliver without everything depending on me? And is this being done efficiently? Financial, is this business producing the profit that I want? Finally, momentum, am I consistently taking the time to make improvements on my business and grow it? Which one of them is your lowest score out of 10, remember? And that's where I would start. Don't try to fix the whole thing. Just ask yourself, what is the one system or process that I can put into place that would help solve this problem? That's how you shift from being the operating system to building an engine that becomes the operating system for your business. So there you have it, the 5 systems that every business needs to put together to create your own business operating system. And if you need any help with that, make sure that you click the link in the description below to find out more about our 90-day cohorts. It includes that business operating system masterclass, which will walk you through every one of the systems and setting it up along with the metrics that matter, as well as me holding your hand for the first 90 days so that you can put that operating system into practice and start increasing your revenue in the next 90 days. Thanks for tuning in, and I will see you in next week's Weekly Momentum.